Whose retirement are you planning? Yours or Uncle Sam's? In this episode, I'm going to address the question, why not invest in a 401k? Get ready. I'm Doug Andrew, and I've helped many people with this dilemma. Should I invest in the company's 401k? Should I participate? Hey, I'm being matched. Shouldn't I at least put in the amount I'm getting matched on? Shouldn't I max out my 401k first and then think about other places to put money? Well, when people ask me the question, why not invest in a 401k, they're often shocked with what I tell them. I have a little ditty that I've used for years that goes good, better, best. Never let it rest. Never let it rest how good gets better and better gets best. I would say that IRAs and 401ks and the like maybe were a good way to go for many Americans, but I think now it's probably not the best way to go for sure, but even maybe one of the worst ways to sock away money for the future based upon the premise that I'm going to give and share with you next. But when we talk about traditional 401ks, if you really search, there's some negative hype out there. In fact, the original champions of the 401k, I think it was in 2017 in the Wall Street Journal, January 2nd or some date like that, very first of the year, they said they lament the day they ever came up with the idea of a 401k. Why? So a lot of the original proponents of 401ks realized that a lot of people began to choose that. It got away from them, and people started relying on 401ks as the primary way to save for retirement at companies. Companies started to allow their employees to have defined contribution plans. That's what a 401k is. You're defining the contributions you want to make, but they don't want to be responsible for giving you a defined benefit like a pension plan. And so 401ks sort of became the popular repository for money and for companies to offer their employees, because the companies didn't want to manage pension funds and be responsible to make sure there was money in the pension, because frankly, there are a lot of municipalities that don't have the money to continue to pay pensions except by raising taxes. They're like borrowing from Peter, current employees, to pay Paul, the people who retired earlier, because their pension funds are depleted. And so this is where 401ks came about, and it got away from them a little bit. Most people who have 401ks have them invested in the market. And so when we have stock market crashes, like we did in 2008 and even during 2020 during the COVID pandemic, people panic when they have their money in 401ks in the market. And they thought, golly, it's subject to this market volatility. But the biggest shock is when they go to retire and they have to pay tax, and they're going, wait a minute. I was always told I was going to be in a lower tax bracket, and I'm not. Was this smart? I really saved, and I have found that anybody who is disciplined and saves 10, 20, 30% of their income has a nest egg that will maintain the same lifestyle or even better than they had during their earning years, and they're not in lower brackets. And so that has not been true for them, and now they're going to get clobbered with a bunch of taxes as they access money out of their 401ks, and then they make the mistake of continuing to defer, procrastinate to age 72 and taking RMDs, which you'll see, I think, is the worst advice ever. So I'm going to share with you the big picture here next. Now, before I go into what I call the 4 phases of retirement planning, and why I do not think most Americans should invest in a 401k. It's like I said at the beginning, I've seen so many people who have yet to be taxed money trapped in IRAs and 401ks. And I go, are you planning your retirement or Uncle Sam's? Because you see in this little flag maybe here, required minimum distributions, RMDs. Because Uncle Sam has been waiting and waiting to get his share of your retirement account. It's the best savings bond the government ever came up with for themselves. And people go, really? What's up? Well, yeah. See, they're making you their partner. And every dollar that you save and then accumulate, they're letting you do it with pre-tax dollars, but then they have a permanent tax lien on that account. If you touch it before the age of 59 and a half, what happens? 10% penalty. Rarely do they let you dip into it without that 10% penalty, but like in the year 2020, because of COVID-19, the pandemic, they did allow people who suffered a hardship to access up to $100,000 out of their IRAs and 401ks without the 10% penalty. You still have to pay the tax, but I advised many people, if I were you, I would take advantage of that and get the money out and get the taxes over and done with and put it into something that's going to be tax-free from now on. And they go, what's tax-free? And I'll show you where I prefer to put my serious cash. I've never owned an IRA or 401k because this is far superior. But sometimes I've had to cure people's tax dis-ease because when you're not at ease physically, we call that disease, okay? When you're not at ease financially, if you're worried about outliving your money or that your retirement savings is going to be eroded away, you're going to outlive your money because of the negative impact of taxes, inflation, and market volatility. I've had to cure that dis-ease by doing strategic rollouts, by showing people a better way and to get them free from that tax trap. So when I look at it and they go, golly, yeah, my accountant says to keep postponing if I don't need the money, and then at age 72 to take RMDs, required minimum distributions, and I just go, ugh, that's the worst advice I've ever heard. And people go, really? Well, I hear advisors tell you to do that all the time on CNBC, on the financial shows. Why do they do that? And I go, who's funding CNBC? Government revenuers. Why would they ever want to kill a partnership where they can continue to get 25, 30, 33, 40, even 50% of everything you will ever continue to earn on an IRA or 401k or the like the rest of your life and your spouse's life and your children's lives for 10 years after they inherit it. Sometimes people don't think through it. They only look at the given year. And so that's why I say, you know what? You need to realize the big picture. There's 4 phases of retirement planning. The contribution phase, and it overlaps the accumulation phase when hopefully you're earning interest and dividends and so forth. And but then you are doing this to take out distributions. That's really the most important phase. And why do you want to have to pay tax on your distributions? Most people who save very much money are not in lower tax brackets. Do you want to be in a lower bracket because you didn't save very much? And so this is where people go into withdrawal when they start withdrawing money because of all the tax they pay. And then usually we leave behind something that would have sustained us had we lived longer. And if you leave that in a stretch IRA, it's the worst place to leave it as you continue to delay and allow the government to have a permanent tax lien on not only your account, but the one that you leave behind to your spouse and then to your children, because people are flabbergasted when they see how much they're going to pay in tax over the long haul. In fact, I think I still have a only software on the planet that shows people the darkness of the night, so to speak, if they keep deferring and taking out the minimum distribution starting at age 72 versus just getting the money out and the taxes over and done with sooner than later. So look at the big picture. If the distribution phase is the most important, you want to take tax-free income. And people say, what about a Roth? Well, a Roth is a step in the right direction, but a Roth only has two benefits. I will share with you next why my favorite vehicle that I call the Laser Fund has the two benefits of a Roth and four additional benefits Roths will never have. So what is better in my opinion? Well, I prefer 3 green circles. A lot of people think that's a Roth. What about a Roth? Well, a Roth is a step in the right direction. But I've never owned one and I never will, because the Laser Fund, my favorite, a max funded tax advantage insurance contract, not only has 3 green circles, but the third green circle blossoms in value when you die, the transfer phase. It accumulates my money tax-free like Roths, actually at an average higher rate of return than most Roths do. I can access my money tax-free and generally at a higher payout. Most Roths in America only generate maybe 4, 5, or 6% payouts. Every million may only generate 40, 50, 60,000 a year of income. Whereas the Laser Fund, I usually can get a payout of 8%, even up to 10% tax-free, so it outperforms most Roths. But with the last green circle, every million I might leave behind in my Laser Fund will blossom to about 2.5 million if I died right now and transfer tax-free. There's not a Roth around that will do that. So when we talk about Roths, yeah, they're a step in the right direction, but why would I own a Roth? If I can have the 2 benefits of a Roth, accumulate my money tax-free and access it tax-free, plus 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have. I can use indexing, I can put in more money, I can take money out, I have flexibility, I don't have all these strings attached that Roths have. So I want to put my serious cash into something that's going to far outperform a traditional 401k and even a Roth, because I don't want you planning Uncle Sam's retirement. I want this to be your retirement and never outlive your money. So I would strongly recommend that you have your serious cash not in a 401k, but in an investment instrument, a repository where you can accumulate your money totally tax-free. But when you want to access money, even before the age of 59 and a half without a 10% penalty, or you don't have to start accessing money by age 72 like a 401k, a Laser Fund allows you to do that. I have many people who established Laser Funds and they retired at age 35. You can't do that with a 401k. You can't touch the money before age 59 and a half without a 10% penalty. There's too many strings attached. So you want to choose vehicles that do not have those restrictions or strings attached. This is why I would like to accumulate, access, and transfer my money totally income tax free. But as long as I'm going to transfer it at my death, anything I leave behind, why not have it double or triple perhaps when I die? Well, how do you do that? By having it convert to a tax-free transfer via life insurance death benefit under Section 101A of the Internal Revenue Code. What I've been sharing with you is actually grandfathered. It's a sacred cow in the Internal Revenue Code. What I call the Laser Fund allows you to accumulate, access, and transfer your money tax-free under Sections 72E, 7702, and 101A. You have to comply with 3 tax citations, TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA. And when you do that, you can establish a Laser Fund, which many savvy CPAs and tax attorneys refer to as the rich man's Roth. You don't have to be rich to own a Laser Fund. But see, rich people make too much money. They can't own one, and so they choose the Laser Fund. But my heavens, it has 4 additional benefits that Roths will never have. You don't want to just have tax-free accumulation and tax-free access when you can have 4 additional benefits. You can use indexing to make money when the market goes up and not lose when it goes down. You can throw in huge amounts of money, which you can't do into a Roth. If you put in a large amount and you need to access it 30 days later, you can do that. You can't do that with a Roth. You have to wait 5 years or till you're 59 and a half. Those are the strings attached. But there's not a Roth around that when you die will blossom by maybe doubling or tripling and transferring tax-free. A max-funded index universal life policy can do that. People say, how much does that cost? Well, nothing's free, but it doesn't cost me anything. I'm funding that by redirecting a minuscule portion of money that most people shell out in unnecessary tax sooner or later on traditional IRAs and 401ks. So when I started out and said, are you planning your retirement or Uncle Sam's? I would recommend it's your retirement. So learn how you can do something far better than a 401k or even a Roth. Study the Laser Fund. Here's how you can learn more by claiming your free copy of that book. You go to laserfund.com, it's on the screen here, and claim your free copy. You contribute a nominal amount towards the shipping and handling. I'll cover the rest of that cost, and I will send out a book to you. There's also options there for you to listen and learn and watch and learn. But here's to your brighter future.